Hey, what's going on, everyone? So later today, I'll be interviewing Miss Denise Long, who's a well-known political analyst and thinker. I think that's going to be a really monumental interview. We're going to get a lot of insight, a lot of information. Um, One of the most important things is how she sees things and how she believes the rest of Black America see things as well. I think that's really important. Um, Even though we're not a monolith, we have to understand that there's certain people within our community that thinks that is kind of the voice box that does speak for a lot of us, right? Whether it be 4 people or 10 people, we still have our sets of ideologies and groups of how we look at things and believe things. And when I look at other groups, how they galvanize their votes, how they get together politically, how they make one or two things the base of their political campaigns, and how they're going to fund their political pundits, it 99% of the time it's economics or it's race based. And I think that's important for us to look at because there's a lot of things that Black people, through America disagree on. It doesn't even matter the depiction of our people, the level of income that a lot of us live on versus, the lower class, the middle class. The one thing that we're missing out on that other groups, no matter what economic and political sides they take, they can agree on one or two things, right? Economic empowerment for their people, where the majority of their people are doing economically well. And at the same time, using their economics to oppress people that they do not want to be in power by continue to empower their own people. We have to learn economic warfare, first and foremost. The second thing is we have to understand how to unify on maybe one or 2 points, not on everything. We're not a monolith. We keep telling the white power structure this, and they're going to continue to treat us like a monolith if we continue to do the same thing that they expect us to do over and over again. This is the problem. They can predict what we're going to do. The only thing they have to do is fearmonger us into voting Democrat, and they know for the next 4 years they can softly, undeniably, but not neglect Black people to oppress us once again. It's been working for a very long time. The only time that the Democrats do not become in power is where a large group of Black people get together, consciously, unconsciously, together or separate, when we say, no, I'm not voting this time. I'm just tired of it because 1, 2, 3, X, Y, and Z. I'm not voting no more because I don't see anything changing for me or my people. That's the only time. That is the only time that the Democrats don't come in power. And you're probably say, oh, you're anti-Democrat, you're anti or you're pro-Republican or vice versa. And I'm neither, right? I just want the betterment of my people. I don't belong to any political party. And most likely, we don't belong to any political party. It's not like we're some sort of representatives of a political party. The only thing we have is a vote. That's it. A vote. One vote. So this afternoon, or rather this evening at 6 p.m., I'm going to interview Ms. Denise Long. And she's well known. She's been doing public speaking. She's pulled up a lot of well-to-do news stations. I know she was on Fox Week. I know she's written for Newsweek, but Fox News rather. So these are a lot of things of insight I really want to pick her brain on. I have a whole slew of questions, and hopefully we can do an hour. I don't see it going over an hour and a half, sort of interview or session. And if so, if it kind of goes an hour and a half with her today, I'm gonna have to break those videos up so people can or chapter them out rather, so you can go to a particular question that you may want to know the answer of. Of course, reparations are going to be in there. Of course, how illegal immigration is being used against black people. You'll get more details later. But I believe it's going to be a very important conversation. To hear someone that I'm not too familiar with within, the black power structure essentially of empowerment. So that's going to be very different for me as well. I'm looking at how we pick political sections or we pick political parties, and we're told that these other forms of government and how their government is evil. Let's take, for instance, communism. Rwanda in a communist sort of way. Like Paul Kagame could run or be present for eternity, right? So those are those dictatorships that they say that are communist parties. So you have a communist political party. Whoever's in charge is the dictator. So they're calling Paul Kagame a dictator. But when I look at Paul Kagame and I look at the other African countries, his is the cleanest African country over there, right? That's number one. Number two, they have now ramped up their economics as far as exports and imports, which is going to raise the economy and GDP of that nation. So the question here is, are all dictatorships bad? Are all dictatorships bad? Have we been so Negropean about our thoughts and political party that we threw out the baby with the bathwater and we think that communism is an evil term and a dictator is an evil thing? But what if, I'm just saying, I'm not saying I'm pro or against. Okay, I'm not picking a side. I'm just asking a question. If the country is 10 times better, right, either be through the social media or Rwandans that came from Rwanda to come to live in America, and then they started to speak out, you don't see that. So the one thing I'm hearing is that he's a good leader. Majority of the people love him. He's done great for the country. He's increased job growth. All these great things that a leader, a president can do for the country. But in Western society, what we have learned is that if the country is socialist, that's bad. That's bad. Oh man, there's gonna be a lot of poor people. But when we look at these European socialist countries, everybody has health care who has a job. Everybody has, I think this is my turn. Give me a second, family. Everybody who works has medical coverage. Everybody who works has dental coverage, and of course a place to live. So I'm looking at the socialism, whether it be in Canada or over in the UK, and they don't have as much homelessness as we do. Because here's the thing, family, you go out, you work your butt off, and then you have to fork out hundreds and thousands of dollars when you get sick. But the job said, hey, we got medical coverage. So I'm just looking at the racial political things because on one hand, we will demonize communism, dictatorships, socialism, right? Even though it's been working for people. And then, you say, well, we don't like the politics in Uganda because you guys just came out and you banned people who display LGBTQ activity, publicly, secretly, whatever. So Uganda imposed all these laws and rules. If you are seen kissing us, anything dealing with homosexuality. And so the West, America, went over to Ghana and all these other countries promoting LGBTQ rights. Now they're trying to put sanctions on Uganda for human rights violation. What? You're putting sanctions on Uganda for a human rights violation? But when we went to the United Nations and we said these white folks are killing us with impunity, when our ancestors went over there, okay, when our great master teachers went over to the UN, like Martin Luther King, and say these are human rights violations, not just slavery, but Jim Crow. And then even before the Civil Rights Act, we went over there. They're like, they threw their hands up at us because we was in the number one country that was allocating the most funds to the UN. That's why they never came out. Then some people will use smoke and mirrors and tell you, oh, well, the reason why the UN didn't come in because it's a nation against a nation. What? You're not a nation. So it's not a nation against a nation because it's the United Nations. I'm like, no human rights violation, no matter the nation, within a nation, but for a particular group of people. You see what I'm getting at? You will go to United Nations and say, well, the Ugandan's law that's anti-LGBTQ is a humane violation of people's rights, normal, natural rights. But that didn't occur to our ancestors. And even for us today, people are like, oh, white people get shot, Asian people get shot by the police. That's all true. But first, we are the third group of people when it comes to the population. You have whites at 60-something%. You have, and that's white alone. Let me include the white Latinos. White Latinos with the white population is around 76%. Latinos by themselves are 19%. We are around 15%. So we have the third highest population out of the major four, which the last one is Asian. But we have the highest percentage of police killing black people unarmed. We have the highest percentage. Why didn't I say number? The reason why I didn't say number is because if they give you the number, it's going to be higher than whites. That's because they have a high population. So I keep telling people, don't let them fool you with simple numbers. Go by the percentages of your population. That is the important part. Go by the percentages of your population, and that is when you get the true numbers, not this poppycock stuff they try to give you and lie to you about. But they won't tell you that these things are not only political, but they're racial. And we know this. America is one of the few countries that have had laws on the books that prevented a group of people based on their skin color, right? Because you have other groups, right, within the world that base off a particular people, not their skin color. They're like, oh, we won't allow the Muslims here to do this, or we won't allow Christians here. It's based off their religion, right? But not their skin color, because back then they called us Negro by the way of the Spanish word negra or negro, meaning black. So it's based off your skin color. Then I was talking to my wife yesterday about this, and she was talking about black has no standing at law. That's what Obama said. And I was like, well, African American don't got no standing at law either. So it doesn't matter in those regards, but it does matter when it comes to reparations. There's a lot going on in the world right now, and it's been taking me some time to really gather my thoughts and put together some material for you guys, because this is so much happening so fast. But we have to continue to focus on us. We cannot get distracted, because once we get distracted, right, all our movements have been dissipated. The energy have literally been taken away from us by other groups. Any group of people that we allow massively in our struggle, we eventually end up losing. Look how the Black Lives Matter thing turned out. Look how that turned out. They end up using that to push LGBTQ at the same time running a scam. At the same time running a scam. But anyway, I hope you guys tune in this afternoon at 6 p.m. Central and watch the interview. I'll see you guys then. You guys have a good one.